What's up, everybody? It's your guy, Ike Jones. We are back with another midweek report brought to you by the folks at the Opelika Rage Room. And today we're talking about the QB situation. Coach Hugh makes it official with Hank Brown at number 2. The question is, did he get it right? Let's talk about it right here. Y'all know how we do. Let's get straight to it. The midweek report, baby. Welcome in, everybody, and happy Wednesday to everybody in the War Report and Auburn families. We are here with the midweek report brought to you by show sponsor, the Opelika and Birmingham Rage Rooms. Make sure that you get all of that anger and frustration you have out about the quarterback situation. If you're just upset, oh my God, I can't believe Hank Brown's QB2. He ought to be starting. Hey, go to the Rage Room, let it out. You got 2 locations to service you: 1510 2nd Avenue in Opelika, Alabama, and 2616 7th Avenue South in Birmingham, Alabama. You can smash stuff, pretend that you are the Incredible Hulk and go crazy in there. Mike G, tell the people about all the wonderful things they can do to support what we got going on with the War Report.
You guys know the deal. What you can do for me and for Ike and for everybody at the War Report. You guys have been asking about B Will. Do it for him too. Look, you can become a patron. You want B Will back? Let's get 500 patron members.
Hey, that's not even like cap though. Like, yeah.
If you want B Will back, let's get some signups here in the comment section. $5.99 a month, guys. You guys know the deal. These are like micro sponsors of our sponsorships of our channel. So if you like what we do, you like the interviews, you like all the on-site stuff we do, media days, you can help us keep that going. You can also give the gift of the War Report. So if you're already a member, you want somebody else to join, hit that gifted membership button. We appreciate you guys for that. Check us out on podcasts, every single podcast platform: Auburn Express, Uptempo, College Loop, and Just a Sec, bringing you guys lots of great audio-only content. Also, this show is brought to you in part by Autograph. Guys, this is one sponsor thing that we ask you guys to do that's absolutely free. Go to your phone's app store, download the Autograph app, look for this symbol right here on the screen, and when you get to this part where they ask you for a referral code, put in code REPORT so they know you came from the War Report. Autograph is your one-stop shop for all your fan needs, guys. If it's articles, if it's podcasts, whatever you go all over the internet looking for, Autograph has put it all into one convenient spot for you. As you read articles and listen to podcasts, you earn coins that can be used for rewards, such as game tickets. So if you want some discounted game tickets, you can buy your tickets through the app. They're not charging all the fees that Vivid and Ticketmaster are charging you guys. So Autograph app, this was started by Tom Brady. So if it's good enough for Tom Brady, damn it, it's good enough for you. Autograph, guys, check them out. Also, last but certainly not least, before we get started here, I want to thank show sponsor Manscaped. Fellas, do you want your grooming routine to be a one-and-done deal? Well, the days of using the same trimmer for your face and your private parts are over, thanks to our friends at Manscaped. They've come up with the ultimate package to keep your hairs trimmed from 12 to 6. Introducing the Beard and Balls Bundle, featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger, a trimmer for the moneymaker and another for the boys downstairs. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code REPORT at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with code REPORT at manscaped.com. For premium grooming experience, trust Manscaped.
Thank you so much to Manscaped and all the other folks who help keep us going, man. If you guys are in here and you haven't done it already, go ahead and share the content. Let's get some more people in here because it is ticket giveaway day.
Yes.
We're giving away tickets to the first game. If you guys have not heard, we're giving away tickets to this here home game. Well, every home game, not just this one, every home game this season. We're going to be giving away tickets to this game live. If you put your name in the community post that we made and you are here present today, you have an opportunity to win. We'll be doing that giveaway at some point in time during the show. Y'all know how we do when we do giveaways. You got to be present to win. So if you decide you want to go take a bathroom break at the wrong time, tough nuggets. Better take your phone in there to the bathroom with you. All right. But yeah, man, let's get into the conversation. Coach Hugh Freeze recently made the announcement that Hank Brown
That's right.
is going to be QB2 for the Auburn Tigers going into this season. And we want to get your reactions on it. I talked about this a little bit on the morning drop, but we want to hear Mike G's thoughts, and I want to hear you all's thoughts here in the comments live here. How are you feeling about the decision to go with Hank as QB2?
I like it. And here's why I like it, right? At some point, what you do on the field, has to matter. And Hank was called upon in the bowl game. He had to do the best with what he had. They gave him 9 throws. He completed 7 of them. He got a touch. He connected on a deep pass. He did most of the things that you would want to see a quarterback do. And, the receivers were taking flack all game. Suddenly, when Hank Brown got into the game, they were catching all these passes that, people said they couldn't catch. And, I think that has a lot to do with rhythm and being synchronized with the quarterback. So Hank Brown, I think, has earned it from all reports that we've heard through camp. This is not a shot at Holden Geriner. From what we understand, it was a tightly contested battle. But I'm going to go back to something B. Will has said repeatedly.
Continuity. Oh, no.
Hugh Freeze is going to play his guys, and Hank Brown is
yeah.
his guy. He committed to Hugh Freeze at Liberty, and he came in here, well below, down in the pecking order, right? And it took, kind of Robbie Ashford getting out of here, and Payton came in, and finally, and Holden was there, and then finally you get to Hank Brown, who was like QB4 last year. So this is somewhat of a meteoric rise for the QB4 from last year to be in the QB2 spot going into his next season, to his sophomore season. And I think that's great. I think that's great for Hank Brown. And he worked. It's so hard, man. There's only one QB on the field at a time. So whenever a guy works his way from a bottom to just being the next guy to be called upon in case anything happens, and in the SEC, make no mistake, you better have a QB2 ready. Now, we did this, I think it was last year, a year before we talked about it. Over half of the teams in the SEC called on their backup to play a whole game because the starter was either suspended or injured or just didn't play well. In Bama's case.
Right.
So, you have to be ready. And if you don't have 2 QBs that can do the job, you're in trouble in this league. A lot of guys don't make it through the season unscathed. So, congratulations to Hank Brown. I think that can't be understated. Congratulations to that young man for, persevering through, sticking with it. We talked to him one-on-one, and, I asked him, I said, has your faith in Auburn ever wavered based on how you felt this QB race might play out? And he said, no. He stuck with it. So for all the people out there that want an Auburn man, Hank Brown is it. Now, that doesn't mean that Holden stuck with it, too. So we're clear. I thought he would be gone, and he stuck with it. So he is an Auburn man as well. But, I think this is a good decision for Hugh Freeze. And, I don't want people to start crapping on Holden. I don't think this is not an indictment on his talent. It's just the situation that he ended up in.
Right.
Sitting behind, Robbie and TJ and and all these things going on where it just felt like he could never surpass the experience in front of him. So, I wish that there were a world where Holden Geriner could transfer out of here before the season started.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It does. It's
even
not
if
possible.
he did,
it's not physically possible, but you know what I'm saying?
Even if it were, though,
that's how bad I feel like
for
him.
Anywhere.
Yeah, that's how bad I feel for him. I want him to be in a program where he has a chance. And look, man, there are a lot of talented kids that don't ever get the chance.
Right.
Lots of high school football players, and the millions, only 2% ever go pro. There are only so many jobs at the pro level, so there are a lot of jobs at the high school level. There are even less when it gets to the college, at the major college level, the P5 level, or P4 now, I guess it is. And trying to get through to the pros. I mean, look at it. I saw where Bo Nix is going to start week 1.
Yeah.
Right. Imagine how amazing that is for Bo. He had to beat out a guy who's been in the league, played at the school he started at, and played at a high level. Guys, it's hard to do. Hats off to Bo. He really had to stick that out and perform at a high level, and they're going to go with him. That's amazing. I hope he handles that well, and I hope they do right by him there in Denver. I hope they set him up to succeed. So, is Hank Brown set up to succeed here? I think he's Hugh Freeze's guy. I think he is. Now, I'm not anticipating him being called on in meaningful action this year because I do expect Payton Thorne to play well. That's my expectation. Now, I know in the comments after the video, there are going to be a bunch of people saying it should be Hank. I want to see Hank by game 4 or whatever, but I would caution you on that because if you want Auburn to succeed, but you're rooting to see Hank Brown win the starting job by game 4, something went wrong in those first 3 games.
Right. Very.
And it's going to have more to do than with Payton Thorne. It's not like it's not going to be like insert Hank.
I can't see a world. Yeah, I can't see a world where the only issue with the offense is the quarterback. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I can't see it where everything else is clicking on all cylinders and it's just Payton Thorne's making bad reads or missing guys. And if he would just do that, then the offense is going to be phenomenal, right? Like, and so I just don't, again, to your point, I feel like it's going to take it going disastrously bad. Like he's going to have to go out there and just really stink it up.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, that means you have done something.
To see that.
Right. You've done something terrible against teams that you should be blowing out. And like, I mean, it's going to have to be Georgia State levels of ineptitude on offense versus teams that you should be blowing out, I think, for it to happen. And yeah, I don't know if I can stomach it, man. I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
Yeah. So again, A&M, Cal, New Mexico. Right. If Hank is the starter by game 4, barring injury, then the quarterback that was picked did not play well against some of the weakest competition that Auburn is going to see all year. That will not say good things for the prospects of Auburn's season. And last year the defense wasn't really the issue game to game. I thought they brought it last year. They weren't perfect, but certainly they kept Auburn in a lot of the games that they lost. So, yeah, you need the offense to take the step forward this year. It's Payton Thorne's show. We're praying for him that he does everything he can do with his last year of college football, to the betterment of not only himself but his teammates and the Auburn family. And then you've got Hank, who's got to stay ready. And this is an important year for you if you're Hank as well, too, because if the reports are to be believed, Deuce Knight is going to be an Auburn Tiger.
Right.
So you've got more competition coming in the door, and the commitment that's going to be that's going to have to be made to land a Deuce Knight is going to have Hank fighting for his life again next offseason. So, we'll see. And especially if the way they've stacked the deck at receiver, when those guys have a year of experience under your belt, you might feel even better about putting an inexperienced quarterback in with those guys as a cushion. I'll see how Hugh Freeze treats it, but, you've always got to stay ready because you've got to play the best guy. You had was it Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams battling it out when Caleb was a freshman?
Yeah, at Oklahoma. Yeah.
You had a guy who was highly touted, highly rated, and I don't know if you've seen any of the preseason highlights, but Caleb Williams looks like the real deal at the pro level. But that's the conundrum that Oklahoma was in. I've been hearing really good things about Spencer Rattler as well, too. But they had 2 pro-level guys on the same squad.
Right.
So this is a problem, I think, that I hope Hugh Freeze brings to the Plains early and often and just as frequently as possible.
Right.
We got so many guys we don't know who to pick.
Yeah. And, I mean, I think it's so interesting, though, man, like that people get bent out of shape about guys transferring. But usually if you're but you don't think about it in terms of this kind of stuff, right? Like we've got so many talented guys. There's no way to keep all of them happy. So
Right.
somebody's got to go. And that needs to be the case at Auburn, not I'm disgruntled because somebody who can't play is playing in front of me and the coach is showing favoritism to some person that is not really that good, right? Like that needs to stop being the narrative for Auburn. And go ahead.
Let me ask you this question, Ike, because again, you've been putting out a lot of film review stuff lately. Is the thing with Chris Todd out yet?
Yep.
Yeah. So
there's two versions of it. There's a public version that is just the Hank Brown portion. Well, it's actually only about 3 plays from Hank Brown. Like the totality of it is though behind the paywall. But yes, it's out.
If you're in the chat right now, you're part of the Green Name Gang. We have a film review with former Auburn quarterback Chris Todd. He's a friend of the show. He comes on and breaks film down with us often. Sometimes we're breaking down film just so that we can get an understanding internally, but it's not necessarily on tape for you guys to see. Anyway, my point is I was going to ask is how much does this offense have to change? How much does what Hugh Freeze wants to do change if Hank Brown is the quarterback over Payton Thorne? What does the offense look like with Hank Brown?
I think the only big difference, the only immediate difference that you're going to see is Hank Brown's doesn't have the mobility that Payton Thorne has, right?
Right.
And so if you're looking for a guy to get you out of situations with his legs, Hank Brown's not going to be the guy. So they're going to have to build in more things that either protect him differently or allow him to have that release valve of Hank Brown showed in that small sample size that we saw in the bowl game and really at A-Day that he'll go to his check down, right? Like he'll get to that running back coming out of the backfield. That stuff needs to be there and available to him a little bit more often because he doesn't have the mobility that Payton Thorne has.
Right.
And I know Hank has a bigger arm than PT does, right? And so I think he threatens you vertically a little bit more than Payton Thorne does, just off of the fact that he's willing to let it go downfield. If it's one-on-one with him and a big receiver, he's going to take that more often than not, just because he has the arm strength to just get to his back foot and let it rip. So that's probably going to be the biggest differences, but he'll have his lumps where he's just going to look like a guy who hasn't played sometimes out there, I think. But yeah, the mobility. So you're gonna have to change your protection and maybe some of the scheme things that you do with the running backs out of the backfield, and then probably he'll stretch the defense probably a little bit more.
Looking back at the scrimmage, and I'm pulling up my notes here from that scrimmage. Hank Brown to Perry Thompson for 60 yards up the sideline was one of the prettiest throws of the whole scrimmage, right? I think a close second, or I don't know, man, it was tough. Holden to Malcolm Simmons for a 75-yard touchdown was pretty good as well too. But his deep ball to me is the best on the team right now.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. Like Payton Thorne is the best. Yeah, he just has the bigger arm, man. He's got a freaking
he's got a gunslinger arm. Yeah,
man.
Yeah. And I asked him that. I was like, is Hank Brown a gunslinger? We have that interview on our channel as well too. And he was like, absolutely, I am. So I think he adds that element. So what you lose maybe in mobility, he gives you that big play downfield threat. And accuracy down the field, I think maybe is one of the things that Payton, you hope he steps up this year. It was the only thing about him in the scrimmage that I thought left a little to be desired. He threw some decent balls to Cam up the sideline. Cam caught him, but there was no chance for him to come down in bounds with him. So you got to keep him in bounds, and it was up the left sideline if you're headed toward the north end zone, right, where he threw those balls to Cam. And Hank had his up the right sideline headed toward the north end zone. Same thing, just go route. And he put it up there, and Perry just went up and came down with it. It looked like it could have been a 50-50 ball, but it ended up not looking like a 50-50 ball because of the play that Perry made on the ball. It was just incredible. Right.
Well, that's when you have that kind of arm and you've got that kind of talent, what you were saying about Payton Thorne, just give your guy a chance, right?
Just give your guy a chance. Yeah.
Keep it in bounds, give him a chance to come down with it. And when you've got guys that can do that, then it'll work out for you more times than it won't.
Right. So, it's interesting to me where these guys have landed. And Hank Brown, man, I'm telling you, to move from QB4 to QB2 in one off season is fantastic. I think it says a lot for him. I think it says a lot for his work ethic, and it says a lot for his talent. So, he just got to stay ready. He's one play away from being the guy now.
Yeah.
And I can't stress enough, in this league, that's more likely than not. Given how many times we've seen over the last few years, teams have to go to their backup quarterback for one reason or another. Hell, years ago, Saban had to go to his backup to win a national title.
Right.
In the middle of a game. You never know when you're going to be called.
Right. Ohio State, same thing, right?
Same thing,
they had to
right?
go to their third string quarterback to win a title.
What was his name? Jones.
Cardale Jones.
Cardale Jones, right? Yeah. And I mean, he won what? 3 games in his college career.
Right.
The game before, the Big Ten championship, and then the national title.
Right.
Those were the games he won. Like, wow. And then went pro. And then had the nerve to say, okay, I'm out. That's it. That's all you need to see from me. He didn't do much at the pro level, but and he was up against some guys that were amazing. Ohio State has not lacked for quarterback talent over the years.
Right.
But you just never know. So, like, if you're Hank Brown, you got to keep working. This is a sign, like, because you worked your way to QB2, but you're not QB1. So you got to keep working like you want Payton's job. And when you get called for one reason or another, he's got to do like he did in that bowl game and go and make the most of it. Now, Auburn was down, and maybe Maryland felt like they were playing with house money by the time that that Hank got in there. But I don't know, man. I think there's a good opportunity for him with this schedule and with the defenses that they have to face early in the season if he gets called on. And you know what? Honestly, hopefully we get to see in the second quarters of those first 3 games some Hank come in and tear it up.
Yeah.
What I want to see is I want to see Payton blowing people out by the half, and then Hank comes in and he gets at least a quarter and a half to go in there and operate the offense.
Right.
With these, because look, if whoever starts, here's the great thing about how Hugh Freeze is recruited is if our 11 personnel that we think is going to start, which is Keandre Lambert-Smith, Robert Lewis, and Cam Coleman, right? If they're playing with Payton, and you're putting in the second string when Hank comes in, we get to see Malcolm Simmons, Bryce Kane, Perry Thompson. We don't, you know what I mean? There's not a fall off there in terms of like, you're like, oh, but he was playing with the 2s. It's like, yes, he's playing with the 2s.
Right.
That's
that's how deep this wide receiver room is for sure. Yeah.
Oh man, that's going to be so much fun. So I think it's a good situation if you're Hank, because you get to come in and actually throw with the guys who will likely be the starters after Payton is gone. Keandre Lambert-Smith is done after this year. I believe Robert Lewis is done after this year. Those guys aren't coming back. So what you inherit is Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson, Malcolm Simmons, you know what I mean? Bryce Kane.
Right.
And he's going to be throwing to those guys on second team. That's going to be incredible for Hugh Freeze and Auburn, and most of all, Hank Brown.
Yeah. I just want to see him not take their foot off the gas and let him run the full
let
offense.
him throw it. God, you got to let him throw it if he gets in there. So I'm looking forward to it. I think that it's going to be fun. Again, I can't say it enough. Congratulations to Hank. We've had him, on our show. I know Zach has had him on, and for all intents and purposes, he's a really, really good kid. He's a God-fearing kid. He works hard. He sets a good example for his teammates. He says the right things, and he does the right things. Shows it with his actions as well, too. Can't praise Hank Brown enough. I know this is probably a tough decision for Hugh Freeze, because he had to meet with Holden last offseason and say, hey, come back and battle for the job.
Right.
You don't think Holden was, this is the part of coaching I think that a lot of them hate is that you only get to crown one starting quarterback at the beginning of the season. Now, you might have to make changes later, but every year you got to disappoint 3 guys.
Right.
Chris Todd told us the story about when he won the starting quarterback in 2009, and it was so funny. He was taking reps with the third and fourth team in practice. And he said that Gene Chizik called him into his office with Gus, and they were calling them in the order that they were taking reps in practice. So from his standpoint, he's thinking, well, there's no way I won the job. Because if I won the job, they either call everybody who lost in first, or they call the winner in first and everybody else after.
Right.
But I'm getting called in third. I didn't win it. And when he sat down and Gene Chizik says, you're going to be the starting quarterback at Auburn University, his mouth hit the floor. He couldn't believe it. But he earned that job in like 9 practices. Now, if I need to remind everybody, he set a record for touchdown passes thrown as an Auburn quarterback that year as well, too. So he validated their decision to do that. And you just have to be ready whenever you're called. Chris was ready, and I think Hank will be ready if he's called on this year. I expect Payton to play well. I do, but life happens. Shit happens. We'll see where it lands for them. I think that Hugh Freeze has 2 good options to go to, and we've seen enough of both of them to know that they're where the ceiling is at with those 2 guys.
Meaning Payton Thorne and Hank Brown?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, look, what's clear to me is in something that you said earlier, and you said that B. Will has said it, is that Hugh Freeze is going to ride with the guys that he brought in, right? And
absolutely.
If we're being clear, Holden's not one of those guys, right? Like, he didn't recruit Holden. Holden was brought in by the previous coach, and sometimes it's not where you fall on the depth chart is not about your level of talent. It's about some of it's about fit, and some of it is about familiarity, right? Like the coach, like, hey, I recruited this guy. He's my guy. I want to see him play, right? And if it's close, which I don't, listen, I'm not there in every practice, but if it's close, sometimes that kind of stuff wins out. Not just, hey, even if it's close, but you were slightly ahead. And this is what I said earlier about Payton Thorne, and people were asking, well, do any of these other guys have an opportunity to win the QB1 job? I said, no. Payton Thorne's got to play so terribly, or someone in camp has to play so phenomenal. Like, it can't be close. If it's close, Payton still wins. If you barely beat Payton, he still wins. You're not going to be able to overcome what Coach Hugh Freeze was putting out there, which is basically, he's the guy. Somebody's got to come take it from him. That means he won. Like, I just don't know that you're going to do enough in the amount of time there is in fall camp. And it's the same thing kind of with the QB2 situation. Like, I think Holden would have had to severely outplay Hank in order to be the QB2 in this scenario, because he's Hugh Freeze's guy. He was his first quarterback recruit that he brought in when he got here to Auburn. He fits a little bit more of what Hugh Freeze wants to do. Like, he's not Payton Thorne athletic, but he's more athletic than Holden is. He's got the bigger arm, right? He's the decision-making he's shown to be, when I say bigger arm, I think he can throw it further. Holden has an amazing arm.
Like, he's got a great arm. Yeah.
Like if you go and watch the film, that's one of the things Chris Todd was talking about. Like, Holden's he doesn't even look like he's trying hard. He's just kind of flinging it out there and it's going 30 yards, right? Like, so his arm is amazing. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I think he goes bigger when he throws it out there. So I don't know. I think the gulf was too large for him to make up in such a short amount of time, even if he played better. And I think, I'm glad to see that Holden went out there and was competing. This is one thing I was talking about the other day. I'm glad to see he went out there and tried to compete for it, even though in his mind, listen, this was just going to be a film year at best for me. Right. Maybe I'll get out there and get some good film, but Auburn is likely not going to be the place I stick and stay after this year is concerned. But I'm glad that he went out there and he was competitive. Because I've wanted to see some of that competitive fire from Holden, because I don't know that I've seen that yet. He's just kind of like he's a good kid, and it kind of shows he's a good kid. So, but I wish him the absolute best, man. Whatever happens for him next, I think he's going to have an amazing time at somebody's program next year.
Well, yeah,
But it's looking
one
like
year after this, I know he graduates. I think in
I think
December.
he still has 2 years of eligibility left. Like
Oh,
he's
good for
technically a
him. I hope so.
sophomore. He's a
I hope
redshirt sophomore, so
I hope
he has
that's the
2
case.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hope that's the case because he will be able to. Obviously, they've removed a lot of the restrictions, but he will finish his Auburn career with an Auburn degree,
right.
from what I understand. So in December, he'll graduate and he'll be able to go and play wherever he can. And my only advice to him would be go somewhere where you can get the tape at this point.
Right.
It's hard to tell people what they should do or shouldn't do in this situation. Some people feel like, some guys feel like I'm not going to a non P5 program,
Right.
but go someplace where you can get the tape and get on the field and where you're going to be the guy. Because I don't know, with only 2 years left, going someplace else to compete, I don't know if that's a great idea.
No.
So
Yeah, if you're going to go compete somewhere, this year would have been the year to go do that.
Yeah. So it's 2 years left. Go show everybody why they made a mistake not choosing you. Right. And that's what I hope he does. Great kid. Yeah, Holden is a great kid, man. He's your ideal teammate. He's smart, and sometimes it just doesn't work out the way we plan.
Right.
And so, if God has another plan for Holden, I pray that comes to fruition and that he shows him that, here's my plan for you, son. So, again, congratulations to, my heart goes out to Holden, but congratulations to Hank. That's life, right? You're not going to win everything, and this is a lesson I'm sure that Hugh Freeze is teaching his guys, how you deal with disappointment, in life defines you as a man in a lot of ways. What do you do with this? Do you take this and do you get down on yourself, or do you use this to propel you forward? Do you use it as fuel? And we've seen guys like, you ever Tom Brady talk about the Brady Six, right? Yeah. And the 6 quarterbacks that got chosen before him. And at the time that they had made the documentary, none of those guys were still in the league, I believe.
Right.
None of the 6 quarterbacks that got taken before him in his draft were even in the league. And he's widely considered to be the greatest quarterback of all time. Not everybody is going to see what you are or see what you could be and believe in that. This is why we say talent evaluation is not an exact science.
Right.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder and all that shit. So, good for Hank. Like I said, I'm expecting Payton to play well. It's his last year, so I hope he plays well. I hope that Hank Brown puts himself in a position that it's going to be hard for anybody to walk in here next year and take the job from him.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, if they get Deuce Knight, I hope it's a real battle for Deuce. I hope I hope that Deuce has to come in thinking I'm committing here, but I'm going to wait my turn.
Right.
That'll be a great situation.
Hopefully he has the Walker White mentality. Of okay,
for sure.
If I'm not ready, then I don't want to play. But if I am, let's go out here and make it happen. But either way, I'm fine with waiting my opportunity to go out there and handle this. Let's go to the break real quick. I want to ask one more QB question, and then we can move on with some other things. But you guys are watching the Midweek Report, brought to you by the Opelika Rage Room. We'll be back, get into your comments, and we'll talk a little bit more QB before we move on and talk a little basketball here in the fall. All right, we'll be right back.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. The Opelika Rage Room in Opelika, Alabama. The Rage Room is a place where anger and stress find their ultimate release. Call or text 334-777-6688 to set up a session today, or check them out online at opelikaRageroom.com. Golden's Cast Iron. Whether you work out, grill out, or chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at goldenscastiron.com.
You guys know the deal. Look, join as a member. Lots of great benefits if you join as a member. Part of the thing that helps fuel us and us fuel our community is that when you join as a member, we get to do some cool things like give away tickets. We are about 10 minutes away from giving away our first set of tickets for the season. You guys know the deal. Look, go to our YouTube channel right now. If you're watching 180 people, it's going to be more in a few minutes, I'm sure. Go to our community tab, look for the post at the top, leave the comment or damn tickets to enter. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're going to give some tickets away here in just a second. So looking forward to awarding our first tickets of the season. It's going to be fun. Want to also thank show sponsor JOYMODE. Let's call out the obvious. Everyone wants to head into the bedroom with confidence, feeling like the best version of themselves. You want to go into the bedroom feeling like QB1. Nobody wants to be QB2 in the bedroom. But the problem is sometimes our thoughts get in the way of our performance, or maybe we feel like we're just not reaching our full potential. Here's where our friends at JOYMODE come in. Imagine a supplement you can take, like your favorite greens pack, that gives you the extra dose of confidence and saves you the embarrassment of hassle of a traditional erection pill. JOYMODE's sexual performance booster is an all-natural, science-backed solution to increasing blood flow, firmness, stamina, and performance. It comes in a palm-sized packet like your favorite electrolyte powder, stirred in 6 to 8 ounces of water 45 minutes before the boom boom, and watch the magic happen. Guys, try JOYMODE.com and use code Rapport for 20% off plus free shipping. That's try JOYMODE.com, 20% off plus free shipping when you use code Rapport.
Yes, indeed. Thank you to JOYMODE once again for being a sponsor of the War Rapport.
I forgot one thing. Before we get started here into this next conversation, our guy Rex Castillo over at the local news station WRBL, they're doing a documentary on the 2014. This is a very special time for us. We were in school at this time. You guys hear us talk about that undefeated team all the time. I just wanted, I told him that I would plug this for him, but like, guys, follow him on Twitter. I want to play a little clip of what they got going on over there. They actually interviewed Andy Burcham and Jason Campbell and stuff for this. It was a really well done documentary. I'm going to play a short clip and then we'll get back to the show.
And Junior Rosegreen was one of the leaders on that team. He wasn't one of the best players. He was a good player, but he wasn't one of those star guys. He wasn't that first-round draft pick that Carlos and Caddy and Ronnie and Jason were. But, boy, he was the heart, I thought, of that defense. And I'm not sure there was a harder hitter in this day and age. I'm not sure Junior Rosegreen would end a game. He'd be thrown out so often because of targeting.
But that shows you the relentless of our defense. There was no weakness. You know, you get hit by our offense, you get hit by our defense.
Is down.
I think a lot of people just stopped because they were so concerned about this violent hit that was at the time legal. My teammates never let me live it down. I scooped the ball.
Auburn 24, Georgia 6. Put this in your BCS pipe and smoke it.
Put this in your BCS pipe and smoke it. Junior Rosegreen would be ejected from life for that hit in today's college football. yeah, they would have canceled him.
Smoke Monday has nothing on that, bro. Nothing.
I thought you were about to say they would have blamed Smoke for something that happened in 2004.
That probably would have been the better internet joke.
Yeah, guys.
Smoke Monday just got ejected after that Junior Rosegreen hit.
I retweeted it today, but you can go to my Twitter and you could see Rex Castillo's post about this. Those guys did a great job on that documentary. If you love Auburn football, please go check them out.
For sure. Let's get over here to the comment section. Check out what you guys are saying about all of these things. Thank you to Tiffany for giving a couple of memberships away. We always appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Super chat here from Tony Baker, who says, just curious to see who starts against Arkansas. May not be the same as game one. Listen, this is not a good scenario, people.
I'm telling you, you don't want to see this.
Here's my question, and to the Ant Robinsons and Tony Bakers of the world who want to see Hank play, is I know that you want to see it and you're not convinced that Payton Thorne is the guy. I know. What's the scenario in which Auburn is not embarrassed and Payton Thorne is also not the quarter, absent of injury? Auburn is not embarrassed and Payton Thorne is also not the quarterback by the fourth game of the season.
Right.
What scenario plays out in that way? Or are you saying, no, Auburn's definitely going to be embarrassed? That's what I would like to know from those who seem very adamant that Payton Thorne will not survive the season as the starting quarterback. What is that scenario for you all? Super chat here from Stephen Neely that says, what are you guys hearing about the left side of the offensive line? Should we be worried? I'm hearing the same thing everybody else is hearing about it. They're still trying to figure it out. Apparently, who was talking about this today? It was on one of the pressers. I think Derek Nix was talking about this today, about they had moved Dylan Wade back out to tackle and moved Percy Lewis into the guard position to try to see what worked, and they're still trying to figure it out over on the left side. Right side seems solidified.
Freeze talked about this last week. He talked about them trying to moving Dylan Wade around and trying to find a spot for him. Not sounds super promising.
Yeah, so but here's the thing. I haven't talked to anybody. I don't know if the issue is, I don't know who the issue is in that situation. Is it Percy or is it Dylan that's not doing or performing up to the level that they would like for them to? So I don't know, but it seems as if it's going to be a situation that they're still figuring out. So that's fluid. And should we be concerned the second half of that? This is one of the reasons why the start of the season being what it is, I think is important for Auburn. Like, you're going to have games where you can figure this out. And also, unfortunately, for those of you who are in the camp of Payton Thorne's not going to be the guy by Arkansas, this actually gives him a little more leash. If they're still trying to figure out the offensive line, they're not going to put the offensive issues on the quarterback. They're going to say, hey, there were offensive line issues that stopped us from being able to do so. Sorry if that's what you're hoping for. I just don't know that it gets there.
Yeah, I don't see it being a good thing for Auburn, and I'm way too bullish on Auburn to hope for that. So, listen, may God bless Peyton with magic feet and great hands and accuracy.
Most people claim it's a Percy thing, but who knows? Worst case scenario, we have the same O-line as last year. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the O-line was terrible last year, but it's not going to be. I don't think that lends itself to airing the ball out the way that the Coach wants. Though.
Yeah, right. And this is why Payton Thorne's your starter as well too. Guy who can move around, make things happen on the move, and get out of trouble. Yeah. So, it is what it is at this point. You're getting ready to start the season, but you hope maybe just kind of like was it Jeremiah Wright that got hurt last year?
Yes. And it's about early in the season who got hurt. Avery Jones, I'm sorry. Yeah. And you saw Connor Lew emerge as an offensive lineman. Is there a young man that emerges as an offensive lineman this year? Who was the kid that got out of California recruiting? DeAndre Carter. Yeah. Right. Like, is he I saw him at practice. The guy looks absolutely massive. Right. Is there somebody here who's young but talented that rises up the same way Connor did last year? This is why you recruit. Now, the last few coaches did not recruit offensive line very well. It was probably the end of Gus here, that and quarterback development. But, this is where you got to kind of trust the process. And this is why you go get playmakers on the outside, right? Because if there's not a lot of time in the pocket, hopefully the QB can get the ball out of his hands and the receivers can go up and fight for those balls. You're not going to have perfect protection in this league. You're just, it happens to the best. Joe Burrow got sacked almost 40 times in his Heisman season. Right.
So, and we saw Bryce Young carry a Bama team for 2 years behind what was the worst pass blocking O-line, in Saban's tenure at Alabama. So, yeah, I mean, it sucks, man, when it's not there. But like, if you can get enough out of your QB to keep the defense honest, you can, keep the run game viable, and it can still work without stellar O-line play. You just need the skill positions to step up big time, right?
Yeah. So this actually, and we still have a lot more questions here in the comment section. I don't even know if we're going to get to basketball at this point in time, but a lot of questions here in the comment section that I would like to address because it's on topic. But this brings me to the other question that I was going to ask you in regard to this. Mm-hmm. If the offensive line play is not where it needs to be, does that open the door potentially for Walker White to move up the depth chart ahead of Holden because of his mobility?
This year?
Yes. Because if the offensive line, like if you don't trust your offensive line to be able to pass block, Holden's a sitting duck back there.
Yeah, I think that it's more likely that you adapt and this is why I asked you the question about like what the offense looks like behind the two quarterbacks.
How much adaptation of the offense are you going to get though in a scenario in which a quarterback needs to be able to get the ball out quickly, and defenses are just sitting on that.
Yeah, do they have a quick strike offense of some sort where they can use play action and keep them off balance? And I think
that's what I think.
This is where elite play calling
mobile
comes in.
Enough. Yeah. I think Hank is mobile enough for you to be able to like get him out of harm's way a little bit, roll coverage and all. I don't know. I mean, not coverage, excuse me. You can roll him out in the pocket, do like half rolls and that sort of things to be able to help him. I don't know that Holden can do that though, right? Like I haven't seen it.
I don't know if he needs to be able to, if there's a version of this offense that doesn't require him to do that. We've looked at the numbers, the time to throw statistics over the last few years. The better quarterbacks, the more successful quarterbacks on average are not holding the ball past 2.5 seconds, 2.5 seconds and out, 1,000, 2,000 gone. Right, like so, you've got to have an offense that gets the ball out of the QB's hands quickly. If you're holding the ball much longer than that, more often than not, it spells disaster. And there's only a few very, very talented QBs who have time to throw statistics over like 3 seconds, but it ends up in positive plays. Those are your Jaden Daniels. Those are your Cam Newtons. Those are your Bryce Youngs. Those are the guys who are athletic, and I would even say your Jalen Milrose. When those guys get on the run, positive things happen, right? But it's not that common, right? It's rare when you get an athlete that can make it happen. Usually something has broken down, or maybe everybody's covered, right? Now, if you can extend the play, that's advantage wide receiver because it's difficult to cover for more than 3 seconds. I think as a DB, but. I don't know, man. I think that you have to have an offense and you have to be planning a contingency if you're Hugh Freeze for a less mobile QB and even Hank Brown.
Yeah.
Right. So it should kind of already be there because you're not going to run Hank Brown really.
Well, I mean, I think the rudiments of this offense are not going to be built around Payton Thorne's legs, right? Like Payton Thorne doesn't want this.
No, he doesn't want that. Yeah. He said that clearly. I don't want to run the ball 130 times like I did last year.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's keep trekking here. Anthony Rudd, I just like Hank because he has a different aura about him and a different type of swagger. Not mad at that at all. I agree, he definitely does. Brad Browning, I tried to watch the Auburn Texas A&M game over yesterday and watched about 4 bad overthrows from Payton Thorne and turned that ish straight off. Barely made it into the second quarter. I am definitely hoping Texas A&M and Cal Payton Thorne do not ever resurface again in an Auburn uniform. Greg Wheatley, listen, it was terrible. Greg Wheatley says, do we have problems on the O-line? We just talked about this, about the shuffling of the offensive line. I wouldn't say problems, but listen, man, I don't think people realize that having a great 5 at offensive line is not as common as people think it is. There are so few really good offensive lines around college football. You have like 1 or 2 good players on your offensive line, and you have dynamic guys around them. But most offensive lines aren't good 1 through 5 up front. They just aren't around college football. What your hope is that they're not so bad at those 1 or 2 spots that it becomes blatantly obvious to defenses, okay, we're just going to pick on this guy over and over again, and then you have to just get him out of the game because he's struggling so badly. I think that Auburn has enough depth to be able to move some pieces around, and again, I don't know that it's panic button time, but we'll see. All right, let's go ahead and get into, we're going to keep going through your comments because you guys have a lot to say. Of course, when we talk about quarterback, everybody has a bunch that they want to say about this, but we're going to get into this giveaway because we still have other things we need to talk about here, and we want to make sure people have time to get in here and actually claim the ticket.
Our inaugural giveaway. I want to thank everybody who followed instructions and went into the community post. We posted this on social media. We put up on Twitter and Instagram. So we appreciate everybody for joining the live cast. Please spread the word. We want to be able to give back to our community, which is you guys. You guys make this happen, and we really appreciate that. So without further ado, today's ticket winner is AU Chief Noop. But he's got to be here to win.
Right.
If he's not here, then I'm redrawing. AU Chief Noop, we're going to give you a couple minutes here to put a comment in the chat. and let us know that you're here. But AU Chief Newt, let's
Make
hear
yourself known.
it. Make yourself announce yourself. Show yourself.
5 gifted memberships here from Stephen Neely. We appreciate that very much. Tiffany Byers just gave away another 5 War Report memberships as well. We appreciate that. Let's see. Spicy jumps in and says, do y'all think Walker or Hank has a better chance to start next year, sophomore versus redshirt sophomore?
It's so, I think, man, I've been back and forth on this, Spicy. Like, I love Walker White. I think he has an uphill battle.
Yeah.
I think he has an uphill battle. The more Hank gets on tape, unless Hank plays terribly when we see him. But I think it's gonna be really hard for him to jump Hank Brown in the offseason unless Hank comes back to the field, so to speak. So, this is a good problem to have. This is, right? And you want the best guy to play. And I think that they're both extremely talented. Walker gives you a little bit more mobility. But I'll be interested to see how Hugh Freeze handles this. What if Walker tears it up in the spring? I go back to what happened at Clemson years ago with what was the guy's name? I always forget his name. The quarterback that he transferred to Missouri, and Trevor Lawrence came up behind him.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Kelly
Bryant.
Kelly Bryant, yeah, right. And Bryant was a solid quarterback at Clemson. I think he had maybe 2 losses as a starter, and yeah, Trevor was extremely talented, and eventually Dabo handed the reins over to Trevor Lawrence. That worked out well for them. But what do you do? What do you do with that? Like, I just think it's a good problem to have, and I'm enjoying watching it being one guy truly outplayed the other, and not that the other guy sucks, because that seems to be the like kind of like the mood of the fan base. Well, he can't be that good if so and so beat him out, right? They're not saying that at other schools. Georgia had Justin Fields, Jacob Fromm, and what was the other guy? No, I'm sorry, Jacob Eason and Fromm. Yeah, in their QB room at the same time. 2 of them left and started at Power 5 schools. So just like when you're on top, that's the problem you're going to have. It's going to be a lot of guys battling out for one job. You just hope that Hugh Freeze chooses the right one. And I would argue that Fields was a better quarterback than the other 2, based on what he accomplished at Ohio State. So,
did any of those guys ever start a game in the NFL?
I think Eason maybe got drafted in the late rounds or something like that.
Yeah, but did he start a game?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm saying, Justin Fields definitely had the better career, even though his career is technically still going. I don't know that
it was a tough decision. All those guys were talented at the college level, so you can't take anything away from them. But I'm just pointing out to how hard a decision it is when you have a lot of talent, right? And would they do it differently if they had it to do over again? Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
I haven't seen AU Chief Noop. I'll give you a few more minutes, but we'll draw it again.
That's so sad. AU Chief, our first one, we're redrawing.
Tim, the Tool Main Taylor says, if Hank gets the call, does PT win it back? I have been very clear on my thoughts on this. No. No, I don't think he gets it back, bro. If he turns the reins over,
I'm going to say no as well, too, because he's really going to have to stink to lose it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can stink that bad. Look, man.
Listen, at some point in time, if you're going over to the other guy, you're starting to look towards the future at that point in time. And it's like, all right, which of these guys am I grooming to be my next? Because Peyton's done after this year, bro.
Yeah, look, if you crap your drawers that bad, you throw out the underwear. You don't put it in the washing machine, right? Like, that's
especially if you're in public.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's done. It's just done, right? Like, you throw them away. All right. So, and I think that's what he's gonna have to do to lose his job. I don't see that happening, but if it does happen, it was not good. And yeah, you definitely just buy a new pair.
Yeah, those are done. We're throwing those out. Yeah. Chris S. asked, any chance that Malcolm outshines Perry at Auburn?
This is such an interesting question. The answer is no. They're going to shine together because both those guys are ridiculous. I wish I could. They would let us take video during the scrimmage. I think that Bryce Cain scored the first touchdown of the day for wide receivers. Malcolm was all over the place making plays. Like, those guys are going to be on the field at the same time. And when it's Perry, Malcolm, Bryce, and Cam Coleman, you're going to see Auburn go into 10 personnel a lot more. All those guys are playmakers. And they put out a graphic recently, talking about, we hit on all four of these guys. Yeah.
That was a quote from Coach Freeze in his presser saying, like, he thinks that they hit on all four.
All four of them. Yeah. And that's not him sunshine pumping, dude. When you watch these guys, they're clearly good. It's so nuts when you're watching. You don't even have to know what you're looking at to see these guys and just know they're better.
Yeah.
Like, a novice could see these guys and be like, yo, they just look like football players, and they move well, and they're fast, and they catch the ball. And it's just, man, they were electric in that scrimmage. I was so encouraged leaving that scrimmage. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's an outshine. I think they're all going to shine, and you're going to find a way. Like, they were using Malcolm Simmons on a lot of like sweep stuff. They were moving him around the field a lot. Right. Perry played more like a true slot receiver, but he was just right where the quarterback needed him to be. He finds holes in zones and defenses, and man, and then you've got, Cam and Perry on the outsides, and those guys will just go up and get it. Like, I tweeted out that I thought that this wide receiver room had the chance to be 2019 LSU good in a couple years.
Yeah.
LSU fans were all up in arms about it, but I was like, I don't think that's a crazy statement. I'm not saying they're that good now, but like,
I was actually going to use that as my comparative note here of, like, I think it was clear Jamar Chase was the guy in that room. Justin Jefferson's a damn good receiver. So like, I take that any day, where it's like, oh man, everybody's on Jamar Chase, but we still got Justin Jefferson as well. So like, maybe one of them outshines the other one, but they're both amazing.
Yeah, they're both insane NFL receivers. Like, oof.
So I don't know. Let's get this drawing going again. AU Chief Noop's not here. Go draw somebody else's name.
All right, let's see what we got here. Our next winner is going to be Doug Slay 96.
Doug Slay, are you 96. Here? Told
Doug,
you guys, you gotta be present, man. Y'all playing around.
I will keep going until
we'll just keep drawing until we find somebody who's actually here. Off topic, but I'm calling it now. Malcolm Simmons will have at least one touchdown on special teams. Coach Burns mentioned today that he's one of the 2 starters on kick return. Yeah, this is something that I mentioned today as well before I had even the Burns thing hadn't even happened. So like, props to me for getting that right before listening to him, that I thought that Malcolm Simmons was going to be a guy who would factor in, as well as Bryce Cain factor in to the special team situation. Look, man, they're just dynamic, athletic guys. He mentioned Bryce Cain from a stature standpoint would probably just be a kick returner. He wouldn't be factoring in as far as like kick coverage, but he did also say that some of these guys, one of the most encouraging things that I heard him say is a subtle, but a thing that he said very adamantly, and he kind of doubled down on this, is that all of those young men just want to be on the field. And it doesn't matter if they're contributing on special teams, meaning they'll go out there and do kick coverage. They'll go out there and return kick. It doesn't matter. Put me on the field, coach. I want to help us win.
Yeah.
And he said that is something that maybe he doesn't say it, but like, you get a bunch of that Jarquez Hunter energy from these young, super talented young men, which is, man, I don't care. I just want to be out there, bro. Like, all right, if you're not going to turn around and hand me off the ball, let me go play kick coverage. Let me go return kicks. I'll play defense if I have to. I don't care. I want to win the football game. That kind of attitude is so different from guys that are this level of talent.
Yeah.
You get that with guys who are like moderately talented, like they're maybe super athletic, but they're not to be a 5-star or high 4-star recruit and come in and say, coach, I don't care. I just want to play.
Yeah.
That's not, I don't know if you guys know that's not normal, but it's not. Not I need to play every position because I don't ever want to come off the field because I'm the best guy out here like I was in high school. But like, if I don't do nothing else, at least let me contribute in this way. That's different, bro.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love seeing it.
All right. I don't think Doug's here, man. Let me go ahead and draw the next one here. We'll be here all night. The next one here. CM Pat.
CM Pat is here often, so he
CM Pat here. CM,
Yeah.
did you hang in until the 101st minute of this, 61st minute of this? Come on, CM. I thought I saw him earlier.
I'm only putting this up because it's a super chat, but I'm not addressing it. Robbie should have stayed and Holden should have left. Like I don't know that Robbie would have had a better chance of winning that job.
Yeah, I'll point back to what B said. Like, look, he's here. CM Pat is here. Hey, we got a winner. CM Pat, you know the deal. Email us, business at the War Rapport, and we'll get that out to you, my brother. Business at the War Rapport.
Finally.
Congratulations to CM Pat on winning our first ticket draw. CM's been here for a long time. Fortunately for him, the two who won in front of him were not here. So
yeah. I said I wasn't going to address it. I lied. I am going to talk about this.
Changed my mind.
Yeah, because here's the thing, and I don't want it to make it seem like I just don't want to stay bogged down in the Robbie Ashford conversation because Robbie's not here anymore. But again, I don't think that Robbie would have had a better job of winning that. And I think that, I know this coaching staff wanted Robbie to not really be a true quarterback in this offense. And Robbie wants to play quarterback. I know everybody who thinks that Robbie is this phenomenal athlete should just go to a different position and let go of this quarterback dream that he has. But if he wants to play quarterback, he should play quarterback. Like, I just don't stop telling him what he should do with his life. And if he want to play quarterback, let him play quarterback. If that's the wrong decision, let him ride with that wrong decision. That's fine. And since that was not going to happen at Auburn, it was clear it wasn't going to happen at Auburn, then he should have transferred and gone elsewhere. I think he made the right decision for himself and what he wants to do in the future as far as transferring. Now, did he transfer to the right place? That's yet to be seen, right? Like, him getting beaten out by Lenore Sellers is rough because he's a freshman, right? And so, like, I just don't know that he'll have an opportunity to get back in there unless Sellers doesn't play well, which is not unheard of for a true freshman to come in, highly touted, not play well early, and somebody who's the backup gets the opportunity to finish the season. It wouldn't be the first time. But yeah, I think transferring was the right decision for Robbie, and wish him all the best. I just want to move on from the Robbie conversation is all I'm saying. I just want to.
Yeah, listen, man, I think that whatever he saw for himself, it wasn't going to happen here.
Right.
And that's the coach's decision, and we'll argue it till we're blue in the face while they're here.
Yeah.
After they're gone, then it's just kind of like the woulda, shoulda, just doesn't.
Yeah,
doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, that doesn't mean that we have any less love for Robbie Ashford. It's just not a conversation for this show.
Yeah, man, I'd rather celebrate Hank Brown winning QB2 than talk about what Robbie Ashford should or shouldn't be doing. Right? Hank won this job, won the QB2 job. He worked his ass off. I think that deserves to be talked about a little. And this is not me beating down on that super chatter, right? It's just
Again, this has no, and that's why I said let me address it, because I don't want you to feel like I'm just disregarding.
Not disregarding.
It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, I just feel like, man, let's celebrate the guys who were here and working for Auburn now, right? When Robbie was here, we celebrated the work that he put in. His teammates did as well. Now he's gone, so the guys who stayed deserve that same energy.
Yeah. D Key says close, ugly wins against Arkansas and Cal as the answer to the question of what does it take for Payton Thorne to lose the job and Auburn not be embarrassed.
Yeah, I think you described it right. It's got to be they won in spite of him, and it was almost a disaster. Think Georgia State a couple years ago.
Right.
That's what loses you the job. As a matter of fact, it almost lost Bo the job. It lost them the job for that game.
Yeah.
It did. Now, they ultimately stuck with Bo, and in hindsight, that was the right decision. But It's got to look like that. That's the closest example I can, that I have of what it has to look like for Payton Thorne to lose it, right? It's going to have to be, we almost lost to a G5 team because you couldn't get it together, which is completely unacceptable for a player with his experience, and we're moving on. So I don't anticipate that, though. I think that's really far out of the realm of possibility. Like, I just don't see that happening. I think Payton's going to play well.
I could see close, ugly wins against those teams. I just don't see it being Payton Thorne played so poorly and we still won, despite the fact that he threw 2 interceptions and was a 52% passer on the day, right? Like, I don't see I don't know. Maybe, like I said, I could be wrong. I don't see a world in which Payton Thorne plays poorly and Auburn wins those games, like last year's Cal game, where Payton Thorne didn't really play well, but Auburn still won. And then he repeats that same scenario where he doesn't play well and Auburn still wins versus Arkansas. Like, I don't see that being a thing, but I guess that could be, again, to your point, a scenario. But I still think Auburn kind of feels embarrassed by those outcomes, right? Like, you don't feel good about where you are as a team if that happens. So, like, my question still stands of, how is Auburn not embarrassed in a scenario where you bench your starting quarterback by the 4th game of the season? I don't see how those two things can coexist in the same universe. Let's see. Super Chat again says, Deuce or Walker White, who's got the highest ceiling? I have never seen Deuce Knight play a single game against collegiate anything.
Walker until I've not seen enough of Deuce Knight to know.
I mean, but he's in high school, so like, even if I had watched every high school game he had played,
how does that translate?
Like, we have no idea.
Talent evaluation is not an exact science until he's here and has at least gotten some practices and some scrimmages in here. I think that's a hard question to answer. A lot of things can happen, after they get to college. So, and that's not me saying that he's not supremely talented. I'm sure he is. Like, you can't be considered one of the top, like, he's a top 50 player. Like, these guys, but so was Walker. Walker ended up being a top 50 guy, if I remember correctly, by the end of the recruiting cycle. So, these guys work really hard to garner those rankings, and it just depends. What do the coaches want to do, right? Do they have the right system for these guys? It can look terrible one place and then great another place. Who knows? Again, I think this is a good problem to have. The fact that we're even talking about this is a great thing for Auburn, especially with these top 50 kids.
Yeah. Okay, I just did that super chat. Okay, let's just, before we get out of here, let's go ahead and address this. Brad and a couple of other people have asked, what is this community chat thing again?
If you go to our YouTube channel, there is a tab that says community. And in the community, we post things. If you're just scrolling on YouTube, sometimes the community posts will just pop up. But if you go to your YouTube and again, just click on our channel, right at the top, there is a tab that says community. And if you click on that, then you will see exactly what we're talking about. So it says home, videos, shorts, lives, podcast, playlist, community membership.
Yeah.
Can't miss it.
Well, we need to get out of here. Didn't get a chance to get around to the basketball stuff, but there is basketball to be talked about. Maybe I'll do a special Lobtown episode on it or something before it gets too far away. But we're going to get out of here. Mike G, tell the people other ways that they can support what we got going on at the War Report.
Guys, you know the deal. $5.99 a month. Hit that join button. Join our community. We gave away tickets tonight. I know it's just Alabama A&M, but there are 7 more home games, and we're giving away tickets to all of them. So we appreciate our listeners and subscribers. We want to give back to you guys in every way we can. You can also help give back to us by supporting our sponsors. Tonight's title sponsor is the Opelika Rage Room. They also have a location in Birmingham, so please visit the Opelika Rage Room. If you want to get some stress and frustration out, the Opelika Rage Room has you covered. You can break bats, CD players. They had a Walkman in there the other day. A Walkman. I was like, why are you guys breaking this? This is collector's item.
That feels like something I should have
old
let me just take this
laptops.
with me.
Yeah, like, if you are frustrated with your boss and you've ever imagined yourself breaking your
I thought you were
laptop
gonna say
over
if you're frustrated with your boss, take him there and beat him with it.
yeah. No, don't do that.
Break your boss at the Rage Room.
Yeah, no.
That will get
assault.
you in jail.
But they've got a lot of interesting things over there. Windshields, they even have cars you can jump on. It's pretty amazing. And up in Birmingham, they've added axe throwing. So that's live there for you guys now. If you want to go throw axes, they got you covered. Visit the Opelika location at 1510 2nd Avenue in Opelika, Alabama. And if you're in the Birmingham area, visit 2616 7th Ave South. Great work that they're doing over there. Check us out on podcasts, every single podcast platform. The War Report is there for you. The Auburn Express Uptempo and College Loop, along with Just a Sec, bringing you guys lots of great audio-only content. Want to give a quick second shout out to show sponsor JOYMODE. Visit tryjoymode.com. Use code REPORT for 20% off plus free shipping. When it's time to do the boom boom in the room, JOYMODE has you covered. So use code REPORT. Also, visit manscaped.com and use code REPORT to get 20% off plus free shipping. They've got the Performance Package 5.0 that has the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger. So we got some for your face and your balls there, courtesy of Manscaped. We appreciate you guys buying for them.
Very crass joke there.
Also, Vintage 2298 Restaurant and Butcher Shop. If you're in the Auburn area and you're looking for some good eats, they have you covered over at Vintage. Go see our guy Randall Baldwin. Make sure you let them know the War Report sent you. And last but certainly not least, the Autograph app. Guys, if you want more Auburn content, go to your phone's app store and download the Autograph app. This is one of the things we ask you to do that is absolutely free. All you have to do is download the app and use our referral code. When it asks for a code, it's going to pre-populate your feed with nothing but Auburn content. That's articles, that's podcasts, that's tickets to Auburn events you can buy through the app. And every article you read and podcast you listen to, you earn coins, which can be used for rewards to get you discounts on various things within the app. So if you don't want to be all over the internet searching for Auburn content, the Autograph app has you covered. This company was started by none other than the GOAT himself, Tom Brady. We've jumped on board in promoting this. It's a wonderful experience, I think, for those who have chosen to do this. But please go to our community tab. Again, I just explained how to do that, and you'll see this information there. We need you guys to use that referral code to sign up. If we can get a few hundred signups, Autograph will continue to support us just like Manscaped and JOYMODE and Vintage. So we appreciate you guys for doing that.
Yes, indeed. Before you all get out of here, make sure that you share the content with somebody, like the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And make sure that you guys stay locked in with that community tab when we announce again for next week's giveaway, because we got 5 straight home games. So we're going to be doing this giveaway thing 5 straight weeks. So you guys need to be tapped in on how we're going to be doing the giveaway, because it might not be the same every week. So don't fall into the routine. Just pay attention to what's going on out here. Follow us on social media at The War Report on Twitter and Instagram, TW Report on TikTok. We'll be back at you guys with more great Auburn content next time. But until then, and as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.